celebration, everybody. Thank you. Quite a day of celebration it's turned out to be. I actually feel like I don't even need to bring the message after the prayer and the thought today. Like I had nothing left to say. It was wonderful. Great job. I read this joke this week and I thought, why not open up this? You might find it kind of cute, but a man and his 10-year-old son were on a fishing trip miles from home. And at the boys' request, they decided to attend a Sunday worship service in a small rural church. When they get to the church, the father realizes he forgot his wallet. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. I am. He starts rooting around in his pockets and he finds a dime. So he gives it to his son and says, "Here, put this in the offering plate as he goes by." So he does that. The church service ends. They walk to the car. And as soon as they get in the car, the father turns to the son and he goes, "Oh man, that service was long. The sermon was boring and the music, it was so off key it wasn't funny." The little boy looks up to the dad after a second and says, "You know what, Dad? I thought they did pretty good for a dime." So we're already ahead of the game. The music was fantastic today, so now I get the pressure on me to make sure the sermon's not too long and that it's not too boring. I'm excited to be up here again. A few weeks ago, I brought you a message of a sermon series I've been putting together, and I call it A Deeper Look. And we looked at grace, and we went into the story of Zacchaeus. Today, I'd like to do part 2 of that, and we're going to look at mercy. And we're going to take a look at the prodigal son, the story Jesus tells. Now, if you have your Bibles with you, you can turn with me to Luke 15, verses 11 through 32, and if not, we'll have it up here on the overhead so you can follow along. Jesus told his disciples the following story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son told his father, "I want to share your estate before you die." So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, the younger son packed up all his belongings and he moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all of his money on wild living. And about that time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. And he persuaded the local farmer to hire him. And the man sent him into the fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home even the hired servants have food enough to spare. And here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant.'" So here Jesus sets the scene. We have a father that's got 2 sons. The youngest son comes to him, and he's not thinking of his father's concern or what his father's done for him, how hard his father has worked to build this wealth, to put his family financially in a position where they're well taken care of, both while he's living and after he passes. The son is only thinking of himself, and he's thinking, the world has all these things to offer out there, and I'm missing out on it. I'm stuck here at home working on the farm, and I'm under my father's authority, and I can't do what I want to do. So he's got this desire to say that, I want to do things my way, and I want to do it now, and I want to do it under my terms. Now for me, I don't have to worry too much because if our kids come and ask for their inheritance, they can't even have enough money to get across the Confederation Bridge. So. But for this guy, he did have some money. But the reality is really this when we think about it. We're not a whole lot different from the younger son. Because I don't think any of us really want to be told what to do and how to do it. Or we have a deep desire to actually want to be able to do things our way, when we want and how we want. But the father, he listens to the son's request, thinks about it, and he says, "Okay, I'm going to grant it to you." So he divides his wealth between his 2 sons. And shortly after that, the younger son takes his inheritance and he heads for greener pastures. So now he's got this big wad of cash, and he's getting to go out and experience the world, and see what all that it has to offer him. You know, he's looking for a good time, and he's looking to start spending that money. And I don't think he had to look too far to find a party to go to. And I'm sure he didn't have to look too far to find those so-called friends that were going to be more than willing to help him spend his money. The NIV actually says, he squandered his wealth on wild living. He spent everything, and he began to be in need. So here he is, the money's gone. The so-called friends are nowhere to be found. The party's over, and he's hit rock bottom. I mean, you think about it, he's in the field feeding pigs, and he's looking at the food and saying, that looks good. I'm not hungry. He's the son of a wealthy man, and he's starving and has no money to support himself. He's hit rock bottom. It took him to get to that point to come to his senses and say, you know what? Things weren't that bad at home. You know, I had food to eat, a roof over my head. I may not have had everything I wanted, but I had everything I needed, and maybe a little bit more. But what he did see out in that field is he realized, I need to change. I can't keep going on like this. And you know, I know it's a story we're looking at today, but it can really happen easy enough to any one of us. We just need something to not quite go right for us. A lot of us can get out there and we're experiencing the world, we're having a good time, we're doing what we want, and then all of a sudden we hit a little hiccup or a bump on the road and knocks us off course a little bit, but we adjust and we go with it. We still think we're okay. We go a little further along, and all of a sudden we get another, maybe a little mistake, or bad decision, or bad choice. And, well, we're all right, we still deal with that. Next thing you know, you look around, and you're so far off the path, you don't know what's going on. Your things are spinning out of control, and you look at yourself, and you don't even recognize yourself, because you're no longer the person you were, and you're definitely not the person you thought you were going to be. And you get to this point where you're looking and saying, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to turn. I don't even know, is it even possible to get back on track? It's completely lost. But this young fella, he sucks it up. He doesn't make any excuses. He doesn't blame anybody. He just says, you know what? I'm going back to my father. And I don't know how I'm going to be received, but I am going to go back in the hope that I can find forgiveness and find mercy. And through that, find a fresh start. So, he returns home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. And filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, and he embraced him, and he kissed him. And his son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we've been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead, and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he's found. And so the party began. Wow. Is that not beautiful? Think about it. Like, that father, how many nights did he spend worrying about that son? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he safe? Is he okay? Day after day, he sits out on that porch and he stares down the road, just dreaming, longing that his son is going to come walking back towards him. Night after night, he praying to God, just keep them safe, bring them back home. And then, can you imagine that morning he goes out, he looks down the road, and as happens, he sees his son coming back to him. And while he was still a long way on, his father saw him coming. I pray that today anyone that's in that situation, that has a loved one or a child or someone close to them, that they've gotten lost, they've gotten off track, and they need a changed life. I pray that today you see this and read this story and hear this story and you find it to be one of encouragement and one that helps you to not lose hope. That you continue to pray and long that they're going to turn around and come home. And I pray that when they do, you're able to greet them and welcome them the way this father welcomed his son. He didn't despise the young man. He didn't judge him or scold him or belittle him. I mean, this young fella, he's seen and did it all, and he's hit rock bottom. And he doesn't need to be beaten down anymore. What he needs is to be lifted up. He needs to be shown mercy. And while he was still a long way on, his father, filled with love and compassion, runs to his son. He runs to him. He doesn't sit on his porch and watch him come to him and wait for him to get to him. No, he takes off and he runs to him. And when he gets to him, he embraces him and he kisses him. And then he turns and he says to his servants, "Go and get a ring and put it on my son's finger." That ring represented, this man is my son. And then he turns and says, we're going to have a celebration. Not just to celebrate that my son has returned and everyone can see that he's back home, but to show everyone just how happy and how joyful I am to have him back home safely. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he's found. His father showed him mercy, love, and compassion. And what a wonderful way to welcome home the lost. I can't picture a more beautiful way to welcome home the lost. What a beautiful way for any of us to be welcomed anywhere we go. It doesn't have to be just lost. It can be how we welcome each other all the time. But not everyone felt that way. Not everyone wanted to join in that celebration. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. And when he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother's back, he was told. And your father's killed the fattened calf. And we're celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, all these years I've slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to do. In all that time, you never gave me one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. The father said to him, look, dear son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I had is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but he's now found. For your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he's found. This older brother has totally written off the younger one. And he doesn't care that his father's pain's been lifted. And he doesn't care to see just how happy his father is that this younger son has returned home safely, that he's overjoyed by him. In fact, he refers to his brother as this son of yours. He couldn't even call him my brother. And then he goes on to point out his brother's poor decisions and bad behavior. The reality was this: the father might have been willing to forgive him, but he sure wasn't going to. No, in his eyes, the younger brother's sin was unforgivable. And he resented his father's joy, and he refused to share it. And that's just sad, isn't it? But now I want you to picture this. Can you imagine how this story might have ended? Should the younger brother have met the older brother on the road instead of the father? If he had been met with his brother's judgment and anger, instead of the mercy and the love and the compassion that he received from his father, do you think he would have felt welcome? Do you think he would have felt like this is a place where I can come and make a fresh start? I'm wanted and welcomed here? Or do you think maybe he would have thought, I've made too many mistakes, I've gone too far down the road and burned too many bridges, hurt too many people, I'm not wanted here, I'm not welcome here, and turn and hightail it over? As Christians, we can struggle with this, because rather than showing mercy, at times we prefer to judge. And it's not just the lost, we do it to ourselves, our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. We'd rather hold on to the sin and the mistakes that someone made, rather than offering up the clean slate of forgiveness. But as God's chosen people, we are called to clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. And if any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And that's how God welcomes us. When we repent and come to Jesus, God doesn't judge us. He doesn't focus on our past. He doesn't keep us down. No, He shows us mercy. He shows us love and joy. He embraces us. He kisses us. And He celebrates. And that's what He wants us to be doing. That's how we are supposed to be, receiving each other, receiving those lost, receiving the ones that are struggling. That's what we're asked to do. We're asked to do what God does to us, what Jesus does for us. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a fan of Duck Dynasty. And they're a wild and crazy crew, but they're a crew that love Jesus. And they're not scared to talk about what He's done for them in their life. And they've had some struggles, especially Phil, the father. If you haven't heard his story, I encourage you to go on and listen to it. If you want to hear a story of redemption and mercy, it's good. But I came across this story of their younger son, Jeff. So up here on the far side, with the bigger beard, the whiter beard, is the father, Phil. And this is the youngest son, Jeff. And he has 3 other brothers. But I happened to come across this online. There's a website that's called I Am Second. And these guys, they come and they sit in a big white chair, and they give their testimony of how they come to know the Lord and what God has done for them. And it's just great story after story of how their lives have been blessed. And there's many different people on there. And both Phil and Jeff were 2 of the people that did this. And so I want to share with you Jeff's story. Growing up, Jeff was always teased by his older brothers. And for any of you guys that have brothers, you know this is true. He would often fish with his father, Phil, and go to the market to sell that day's catch with his mother, Kay. Though money was scarce in the Robertson household, he remembers his parents' kindness towards strangers. My parents took in many transient people. They'd see them in need and pick them up, bring them home, feed them, and let them stay a couple of days. My dad just wanted to share Jesus with people and get them to heaven. Didn't matter what color your skin was, how bad your past is. They just wanted to help you. When Jeff was 18, he began to hang out with a different crowd of friends. He says, I want to experience what the world had to offer. And he began to drink alcohol and use a variety of drugs. I pretty much did anything that was put in front of me, he says. He also remembers one morning waking up on a gravel road, hanging out of his truck with his skinned up arms and no memory of what happened the night before. Though it made him uneasy, he'd get up the next day and he was ready to do drugs all over again. At this point in his life, Jeff felt empty and he had no decency whatsoever. One night he got drunk and he headed to the movies. And when he came out, he found a note on his truck from his brother Willie. It said, I know what you've been up to, and we need to talk. The next morning, Jeff went to his parents' house. And when he got there, he saw his brother's trucks. That's strange. What are they doing here? When he walked into the house, he saw his father and 3 brothers sitting in the living room, waiting to speak with him. Phil asked, Son, are you ready to change? And with tears in his eyes, the Robertson patriarch told his son Jeff that he had 2 choices. Either join the family and follow God, or go out and be on your own. In that moment, Jeff fell to his knees and he started crying. What took you all so long? He told his father that he didn't deserve to be part of the family because of how horrible he is being, all the things that he has done. However, Phil wanted Jeff to know that God and his family loved him, but he just couldn't keep living the way he's been living. Jeff agreed. Thank you. Thank you for getting me out of this, because I'm done living the way I've been living. And he prayed on his knees with his family. And he said he wanted to come back home. And Phil looked at him. He looked at his prodigal son and welcomed him back with tears of joy. It was one of the best days of my life, recalls Jeff. Then me and Phil told him that he's on house arrest for the next 3 months, and they had to go hunting every single day. A condition Jeff gladly consented to. But years later, Jeff reflects on how comical it is now that his family is famous. We're just some good old folk from Louisiana, he says. But you know, the way I look at it, God had a plan for us to do what we do and to say what we say so that other people can come to know Jesus. We live in a hurting world, and there's a lot of Jeffs out there. Our families, our communities, our lives, they're filled with many lost sons and daughters who are looking for the love and the mercy of Jesus, who are looking to come back home. And my question for you today is this: how are we going to welcome them? Are we going to meet them like the older brother and judge them, write them off? Or are we going to meet them the way the Father met his Son? The way that Phil and his sons met Jeff? Filled with love and compassion? Are we going to get up out of our seats and go out into the community and run after the ones who are lost? While they're still a long way off, are we going to run to them? Or are we going to watch from a distance and wait for them to come and meet us? Are we going to run to them and embrace them and love them and welcome them home in a big celebration? Are we willing to take a deeper look and show them the mercy of Jesus? Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your word and for your Son, Jesus. We thank you for your scripture and for the story of the prodigal son. God, we live in a hurting world filled with many lost sons and daughters. And I pray that we, the church, with your help and encouragement, will go out into our communities and into our families. We'll run after the lost. We'll meet them. We'll embrace them, and we'll show them our love and compassion. Show them your mercy. And then we'll welcome them in a celebration and provide them an introduction to your Son, Jesus. It's in your precious name.